Across live now to Nick Kalioh, an Israeli reporter joining us from Antalya, Turkey. Many thanks for joining us on the programme today. As you know, we're seeing the conflict continue to escalate. What can you tell us about the current situation?
Israel is determined this time that it will not be the usual cycle of bombing Gaza and then retreating. This time, Israel determined to go inside of Gaza and find all those responsible for the terror attacks that were against Israel. And they want to disarm this group of Hamas, that it will not be able to operate anymore. And Israel this time doesn't care who will be in charge in Gaza after that. They want to destroy Hamas, and maybe that the Palestinian Authority will take responsibility also for Gaza. Maybe this is the solution that Israel is looking for.
How do you expect things to play out in the coming days and weeks? Or do you think it will be over in a matter of days?
It depends not just on Israel and Hamas. It depends on the broader Middle Eastern countries such as Iran, Hezbollah, maybe even Egypt, those kind of countries. They maybe will be involved also in the conflict if they will see that the people of Gaza are suffering, as you showed before, too much, and their population can't suffer it anymore. And if this is happening, it could become a war of several countries, and then it can last for many months, unfortunately. And now in the geopolitical new world that we see also the war in Ukraine, maybe even the United States and the West will also take a part in this war in Israel, and then other countries maybe also will join. So it could ignite the whole world.
Obviously, this is the greatest fear for all of us, that this will escalate into something regional and then possibly even greater than that. Just coming back to some comments that we've heard from the Israeli defense minister, because he's been very... He's not been diplomatic, let's put it that way. He's called Hamas human animals. He's also said that all rules of warfare are abolished. What does it mean? What does he mean by that statement? Because it sounds very sinister.
What he means that Israelis, they are in shock. They never expected that so many people will come from Gaza and they will just slaughter anyone that they are seeing on their way, children and women and elderly. When people saw those kind of pictures, they just couldn't bear it. And that's why the Minister of Defense of Israel said those words. And this is the sentiment right now in the Israeli public. They want a revenge. They want the people that were kidnapped, about 200 people, we believe. Part of them are elderly and children. They want them back. And they also want that Hamas will pay for what he did. But unfortunately, because Gaza Strip is such a small place, you can't punish those who did it, and the ones that suffering the most are innocent people from both sides, and this is the big tragedy here.
Indeed, both sides are suffering, civilians on both sides. How do you feel about the international reaction to what we're seeing?
So the world is always, it's a bit cynical, everybody looking for opportunities for their geopolitical games. Nobody is really caring about justice and peace. Anyone wants to see what he can get from this war. So there are a lot of blame game against some other countries that have no connection to Hamas. And unfortunately, the conflict in Israel going on for 70 years since the beginning, the independence war of Israel. And it's never going to end if it will continue this way. And the countries around the world, maybe they are trying to find the middle way. Some of them more supportive of Israel, some of them more supportive of the Arab world. but none of them really trying to solve this conflict.
There are some that are underscoring the point that a permanent solution needs to be found. The Russian president, the president of Turkey as well, even the Chinese president has said that there needs to be a solution, and maybe that's the two-state option. Going back to the borders of 1967, is it even a possibility at this point?
At this point, right now, there is escalation. So nobody in Israel now will listen to this kind of solutions. But before the last attack of Hamas a few days ago, many Israelis believed in this solution of two states. Even the Prime Minister of Israel said it in 2009, that two-state solution is the solution. And everybody agrees about that. Just a small minority of extreme forces, they are the ones on the Israeli side. Because of them, we didn't reach it. And on the other side, the same. We have some extreme forces there. But after the escalation will come down, I believe that Israelis will be willing to go to this two-state solution, because it's impossible to live without a border. Because when you don't have a border, you see what it could bring.
The last time Israel declared a state of war was 50 years ago. How do the two situations compare?
It's completely different, I believe. The only similarity is the surprise by which Israel was caught, and both of them at the same, more or less, time of holidays. But 50 years ago, it was the army of Egypt and of Syria and other countries, Arab countries, that wanted to destroy Israel. This time, it's just a cruel attack of a few hundreds or thousands of Israelis call them just murderous terrorists, because they just killed people. They didn't attack the army, maybe a little bit, but most of their targets were just civilians.
Yeah.
So it is more of a terrorist attack. It's not a real war. But because of the response, the severe response that Israel is going to have, its must now to strike Gaza severely, this could lead to a war like it was 50 years ago.
Nick Kaliohin, Israeli reporter in Antalya, Turkey. Many thanks for your time. It's really great to get your insight into the matter.
Thank you.